Are you struggling with feeling stuck in your life journey? Does it seem as if the challenges or conflicts that you keep experiencing are on repeat? Healing through feeling could be your new way through to a more satisfying life. Now, here's the host of the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide, Sharyn Nichols.
Welcome, everyone, to the Feel to Heal show with Sharyn Nichols. I am alive. I am alive. And therefore, I am actually probably full of shame because I am alive, because I am so excited that you are here. This topic has been working me. Today's show is shame, shame, shame. I've been singing the song over and over in my head, and I've done a lot of research, and mostly I'm tired of being ashamed. I am so tired of being ashamed. So if you're tired of being ashamed, reach out to me and let's talk about this. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's remove shame from our lives. And I'm going to go into it more, as I'm assuming you all already know, that this is how I do things. I am Sharyn Nichols. I am licensed marriage, family therapist, and life guide. I currently reside in Los Angeles, California, and I truly do believe that in order to heal ourselves, we must feel all that we feel. The only way out is through. Of course, you can go, when through also could be around and could be over and under, although you still have to feel it. There's no avoiding the it. Even if you go around it, you get touched by it, or you go under it, you're probably going to get scraped, and go over, you're probably going to fall and tumble, if you're with me in my analogy. Please reach out to me. You can find me through my website, which is feeltoheal.com, or Sharyn Nichols at feeltoheal.com is my email address. It's all pretty easy, I think, to find me. I am so lucky. I'm so grateful to have this platform with which to share my thoughts and feelings, even though I've been ashamed a lot of the time to share some of my thoughts and feelings, because the fear of being judged was always so far more greater than being liked or being accepted. And so these are some of the biggest things that I found out about shame. I'll come back around, because I chose this topic because I wanted to normalize shame, because we've all done things that we are ashamed of, and we've all been shamed. And so I'm going to break it down into a couple of different parts, because there's one part where we feel shame because we made a mistake unintentionally, and then we've been shamed by others. So when we have shamed ourselves and put ourselves out there, and I have so many thoughts floating through my head, so I'm just going to bring it back to center, because I truly want to continue practicing what I have been preaching. So, the definition of shame: as a noun, the painful feeling arising from the consciousness of something dishonorable, improper, ridiculous, etc., done by oneself or another, which is judgment. The verb shamed, shaming, to cause to feel shame, make ashamed, to publicly humiliate or shame for being or doing something specified. I'm going to go back to, let's talk about original sin for a moment. Let's talk about Adam and Eve and nakedness, totally being exposed. Yes, there's the physical nakedness, and then there's the exposed, which is why for so many years, all of us women had to button up to here and we couldn't show our ankles because that would be, I don't know, that would be shameful. You would bring shame upon yourself, shame upon your family, shame upon shame, shame, shame. That's why I love that song. Shame, shame, shame. Shame on you if you can't dance too. Anyway. So in the book of Genesis 22:25, it says of Adam and Eve, and I quote, "And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed." So in the very beginning, they were not ashamed to be naked, according to the Bible. They were not ashamed. It's once they took a bite of the apple from the tree of knowledge, they then felt ashamed. They felt ashamed in each other's presence. And then both of their eyes were open and they knew that they were naked. So that's when they sewed the fig leaves together and they made themselves aprons and they covered themselves up. So originally, we were not ashamed to be naked, to be exposed. There's a reality show called Naked and Afraid. And I'm fascinated by these people who literally are out in the elements completely naked, not because of their body parts, but because they're not covered. And so with regards to shame, we want to cover it up. We want to literally cover up our bodies. We want to cover up our mistakes, cover up our rawness, our nakedness, our exposure to each other. So, Joseph Burgo, B-U-R-G-O, a PhD and a psychotherapist, he wrote a book called Shame, Free Yourself, Find Joy, and Build True Self-Esteem. He says, whenever something is painful, we try to ward it off and fend against it. Sometimes that's okay, but sometimes defending against shame instead of bearing with it stops us from learning something. So how often have you been ashamed of something that you have done, and then you've withdrawn within yourself and not actually then learned the lesson that you really probably needed to learn? And this is where shame then becomes you then become the victim of someone else if they have shamed you. When, yes, they were probably wrong, and I'm putting that in quotes for those listening, for shaming you, because probably you really didn't do anything wrong, but maybe expose your ankle to the world. And even if you did expose your bare breasts or you did full frontal nudity, so the fuck what? If you are okay with being exposed, and there's that freedom thing that I was talking about, that I talked about in a past show, where I was talking about free to be you and me. Part of freedom is letting go of all these lower based feelings, all these lower based energies that we have within us that keep us down, that keep us in the true victim mode, that don't allow us to actually feel what we need to feel to heal our psyches, because it's all in the creation of our minds. Phew, says me. That's where I have been this week with shame. Actually, it's been weeks with shame, shame, shame. And I was also sitting here thinking, well, do I need to expose myself and all of the shameful things that I have done and said? Does that actually even really matter at the end of the day? Because I guarantee you that's just part of trauma bonding, because we've all done things that we're ashamed of. And so, yes, I have been a victim of myself. And then, yes, I've been a victim of others who have shamed me and wronged me for making a mistake, or not living up to someone else's expectations. Just going to take a breath on that. So I also want to mention that Virgo described shame as a whole family of emotions, which I just were talking about, although I want to add embarrassment and guilt, self-consciousness, humiliation, and all of those things where we feel bad about ourselves. So let's just expose ourselves to shame and know that we've all done things that we are ashamed of. So I'm in this year-long training, and the person leading this training this past weekend was talking about her life and some of the decisions that she's made and some of the mistakes that she's made and how, and she was just bearing her soul, and she was saying it matter of factly, not with her hands on her hips and like, fuck you, you're going to accept me for all that I have done. No, she was just saying it matter of factly, like she was just so okay with her decisions. And as I'm listening to her speak, I'm thinking, wow, A, I'm impressed. B, I'm a little envious and jealous that she's just so free with all of the things that she's talking about, which would just cause me to retract inward, because I would just be feeling as though I was just being judged. And it's not that she didn't care about being judged. She didn't care about being judged. She was owning who she was. She was owning herself and all of her choices, all of the things that I would be ashamed of sharing. So we're going to take a short little break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about shame, shame, shame. Shame on you if you can't dance too, because we're going to start dancing. So see you back here in a moment.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Healing through feeling is possible. What if you could start living life as you were meant to before all the conditioning and trauma covered up your beautiful soul? What if your relationships could deepen through a more authentic connection to your feelings and others? A more satisfying, successful, and peaceful life is obtainable when you work with Sharyn Nichols, marriage and family therapist and life guide. Connect through her website, feeltoheal.com, or her email, SharynNichols@feeltoheal.com, to learn more about the Feel to Heal process. Isn't it time for you to start healing?
This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols Show with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at inspiredchoicesnetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to SharynNichols@feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, on the incredible Inspired Choices Network. If you are watching, listening through Facebook, come on over. Come on over to the Inspired Choices Network and listen and comment and give me feedback, because I do welcome feedback and all of it. And I want to just add that, of course, everything happens in real time. And I was sitting here now thinking, okay, should I be ashamed? Should I feel shame about the fact that before the break, I forgot to say, thank you so much for listening to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols. And so therefore, I made a mistake. Although, was it a huge one? No. Although it happens all the time. We are human. I am a human. And it was a little mistake, and probably no one was ever going to even notice it other than my wonderful, incredible producer, Christine. She noticed, although she didn't say anything, because why would she shame me? Why? Because there would be no point. Although now, of course, I'm also taking responsibility that I made a mistake. So I am now also apologizing for my little mistake. So if you need to work through any shame, or if you want to work through any of the mistakes that you are holding on to, that are weighing you down, both literally and figuratively, because that's one of the things that we do. We pack on the pounds when we're feeling really ashamed. Our minds are so powerful. We create scenarios that just don't serve us. We think they do. We actually think that we are protecting ourselves from exposure, but we're really not. That is the irony of it all. Anyway, bringing back around to here we are. Please find me, email me, SharynNichols@feeltoheal.com. Check out my website at feeltoheal. Feeltoheal.com is my website. In the process of working on it and making it even better and more user friendly. So I want to go back and talk about about 4 ways of looking at shame. And this is again from Virgo. He was brilliant in this writing, because there's 4 things, according to him, that there's 4 areas of shame. The first one is unrequited love. And when I first read unrequited love, I was thinking, oh, do I have any unrequited love? And then the light bulb went off, because I read the next couple of lines, that it really actually has to do with the mother-infant relationship and how crucial that is. And how so many of us, even with the best well-intentioned mothers, this is not me putting any mothers down at all, with the well-intentioned mothers, missed on the feelings of joy and attachment. That's why there's a really great book called Attached, with all different attachment styles. And shame's part of all of them, really. Anyway, that's a whole other show. So, as I know I've been saying for quite some time, we draw conclusions based on experiences that we have had as children, as even infants, because we're constantly learning from our experiences in our environment. And we're taking in all of this information, and then we are drawing conclusions that then affect how we do things, how we show up in the world as adults based on things that we experienced as children. So throughout life, we've all been in situations where we like somebody and they don't like us back, or we want to be friends with them and they don't want to be our friends. It's probably one of the worst possible experiences you could ever have, according to Virgo. And which leads us into the second one, which is exclusion, because no one wants to be left out. And so, of course, we all want to belong. We're tribal. We need each other to succeed. We can't exist alone. We just can't. Yes, we need our alone time so we can process what we need. Although groups, circles, they work for healing. I love doing group work. For many years, I ran survivor after suicide groups. I co-facilitated them. Again, not alone. I've also participated and led energy groups, both co-ed and all female, and they are truly rewarding. And for sure, I have said things in those groups and not said things in those groups for fear of being judged or shamed. So don't be that person that doesn't try or put themselves out there out of fear of not being included or excluded, because it happened one time when you were in second grade. Please come talk to me. Let's heal that for you, because that's not who you are today. And why that even happened is even sort of irrelevant. It is time to heal your shame and give yourself the opportunity to live your best life. Somebody said that recently in one of the groups that I was in, and the facilitator rolled their eyes, because we all want to live our best life. And it's just so fucking cliche. The only way out is through. You must feel, you must allow yourself and acknowledge your shame, acknowledge your mistakes. So the third one, unwanted exposure. This is probably the first thing that actually comes to mind, and Virgo explains that unwanted exposure refers to when you draw attention to yourself in a way that you don't want to. You do something embarrassing in public, like when you trip or you spill something. So, because that's likely to stir up shame for yourself or some member in your family, because God forbid we draw attention to ourselves and be different. Oh my gosh, God forbid we do something different, or we make a mistake, or we hurt ourselves. The fourth one, disappointed expectation. Disappointed expectation refers to when you have or set a goal and then you fall short. So of course you feel bad about yourself if you don't reach a goal. When I was in therapy for like when I was 22, I guess this was probably my third therapist. She kept saying to me, enjoy the journey on the way to the goal. Enjoy the journey on the way to the goal. Enjoy the journey on the way to the goal. And it took me a really long time. And the reason why I just said it 3 times is because it took me a really long time. Because I was always so focused on the goal because, hunt the deer, shoot the deer, bring the deer back, focus, track it. And it was always about keeping my eye on the prize and forgetting that actually working towards getting the prize was actually the prize itself. I know I've been saying I am the sum of all of my experiences, both good and bad. And yes, I definitely have done a lot of things that I would be judged for, that I am ashamed of, and have not shared because of that. And again, I don't really think it's important that I do, because that's not what this is about. It's not about exposing all of my secrets or all the things I'm ashamed of. It's about me, embracing me and allowing and the knowing that I have done the best that I possibly can 85% of the time. And I'm still human. And sometimes I don't see the ottoman. For those of you who watched the Dick Van Dyke Show, and he came in and he tripped over the ottoman. And I don't even think that actually that was staged. I think that was what happened the first time, and they decided to keep it in. I could be wrong. I think that's just maybe my thought. Although most of all sitcoms and all shows really have to do with expectations and assumptions and people hiding out and not wanting to be exposed. And as soon as things actually come to light, that's when they can get handled. That's when they can be dealt with. That's the beginning of the healing. Hiding away and expecting that no one's going to know is sort of silly when you think about it, because we are all humans and we all have experienced shame. We've all experienced guilt. We've all experienced anger. We've all experienced joy and happiness if we actually let ourselves. Although if you're so caught up in the shame spiral and so living in the lower based energies, so let's start lifting. Let's start moving out of this whole idea that you need to continue to live your life of shame. You don't. You don't. So I'm going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some things that you maybe need to know about shame that I haven't already talked about. And then we're going to do a wonderful meditation. So thank you so much for tuning in to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, on the Expired Choices Network. And I will see you back here in a moment. Looking forward to it.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. You'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
How wonderful would it be to carry your favorite Inspired Choices Network host with you throughout your day? Well, now you can. Inspired Choices Network now has its very own mobile app. Our free app offers live streaming shows, along with thousands of podcasts and TV episodes. Our shows cover a wide variety of topics. Whether you're waking up with us, carrying us through the day, and taking us to bed with you, we're always here for you to enjoy. We're easy to find. Just search for Inspired Choices Network in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
Healing through feeling is possible. What if you could start living life as you were meant to, before all the conditioning and trauma covered up your beautiful soul? What if your relationships could deepen through a more authentic connection to your feelings and others? A more satisfying, successful, and peaceful life is attainable when you work with Sharyn Nichols, marriage and family therapist and life guide. Connect through her website, feeltoheal.com, or her email, SharynNichols@feeltoheal.com, to learn more about the Feel to Heal process. Isn't it time for you to start healing?
This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to SharynNichols@feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for tuning in to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, and we are talking about shame. And I want to just mention that shame and guilt are very different emotions. Because when you feel guilty, you think you've done something wrong. When you feel shame, you believe that you are wrong. Well, guilt, comes about when you feel as though you've made a mistake and you can fix it. Shame is when you see yourself as the mistake. That critic inside of your head tells you that you are a bad person and that you are wrong and worthless, or that you have no value. And that can't be more than wrong. And that we also know that shame quite often begins in our childhood. And shame also can lead to other negative emotions. Shame can cause anger and depression and anxiety. Because if you're always constantly on the defensive, or you're constantly stuffing things down, or you just altogether feel worthless because you're just so full of shame, you're not going to get up and do anything for yourself. You're going to start wronging everybody else in order to make you feel better about yourself. You see this horrible, vicious circle? And then shame can also have its negative effects on your relationships. And then we end up passing it down onto our children. And I'm all about breaking the cycle. There is no real thing about secrecy. There really is no hiding any of your secrets. And I say that because I know, yes, I did a show on secrets. It's just because we all have them. We all have our secrets because we all are ashamed or have been shamed about something that we have done or still continue to do. And this is where it comes down to choices. So shame. I every so often I am at a loss in terms of words for myself because it catches me. I get caught up in my own shame spiral. And here's the thing. There is a cure for shame. Because when you have a caring person or you have someone to share your feelings with, you can alleviate and eliminate some of this shame that you are having by sharing your painful stories. And this is not trauma bonding. This is truly freeing yourself of all of these negative thoughts and feelings that you have about you to allow the positivity back in. Because remember, you were born feeling and being okay with being exposed. It wasn't until you learned or were told that it wasn't safe that you then withdrew within yourself and you drew all these horrible conclusions that are just not true. At the end of the day, there really is nothing, no thing to be ashamed of. You're human. If you've made a mistake, take responsibility and apologize. And learn from your mistake, learn from your shame. Don't let the shame get in the way of you learning the lesson you need to learn for you. Stop the vicious cycle that you keep yourself in, because it's just not serving you. Stop being so afraid of looking stupid or saying the wrong thing. Hell, do a podcast, do a show. I was so afraid of saying the wrong thing, of doing the wrong thing. I was so afraid of being of shaming myself or feeling ashamed or being shamed that it took me a whole year to do a show on shame. I didn't realize how deep its roots were in me. I didn't realize how truly afraid I was about being exposed. And I know I've talked about secrets, and if it's not yours, don't talk about it. If it's not your story, although we all have our own stories. And I truly have let go of a lot of my fear of judgment. I'm still working on it. And I'm so excited to have this platform because I too have literally and figuratively fallen on my face, on my ass. I've said the wrong things at the most inopportune times. I've also had people reject me. And I've also done the rejecting, which also I'm ashamed of. I'm ashamed of all the people who I have hurt because it certainly wasn't my intention. And I probably at the time did it very unconsciously because I truly just wanted to feel better about myself. So I think we have a little time. I'm feeling that it's time to do our meditation. It's time to do our meditation on shame. So let's all receive a breath. And sitting in a comfortable position and allowing our eyes to close and bringing our attention to our body. And feeling where we are, grounding, allowing our jaw to soften and our shoulder blades to just relax. Feeling our sit bones on our chair or cushion and resting our hands in our lap. And turning our attention to our breath and breathing in and out. Breathing in and out, and gently bringing to mind an experience or a memory, a time in which we have felt shame. Maybe it was something that you did, or something that someone else said about you or to you. Whatever it is, turning toward this memory, experience, or situation as best you can, and checking in with what thoughts are present and what emotions and what body sensations you are feeling. And without needing to change or fix anything, beginning to explore what is arising in you and what you're feeling right here and now. And if there are any thoughts that you are experiencing, allow them. Allow the thoughts and feelings to come and go without naming or labeling anything. Saying to yourself that shame is here, or fear, anxiety, or guilt, whatever it is, and just being present with it for a moment. And now shifting your attention to any of the feelings and sensations in your body and investigating them with a friendly interest, getting curious about them, even if they're unwanted or intense. Really getting to know them if it is possible at this moment. Embrace your thoughts and your feelings and your body's sensations. And if they are particularly strong, say to yourself, this is just a moment of difficulty. I can be with this. It's already here. And if it's helpful, breathing into the sensation, expanding on the breath, and letting go, softening, staying with these sensations as long as they are capturing your intention. It's okay. It's okay. You are okay. And if this is too difficult or still feels so overwhelming, there's always your choice, the choice, to return to your breath. Focus on your breathing. Inhaling. Inhaling love. Exhaling all that doesn't serve you. Inhaling. Exhaling. And when you are ready, bringing the attention to your entire body, to any and all sensations, resting here and now in more spacious awareness. And allowing all this shameful experience to just be put into the background. And ask yourself, can I let this be as it is? It's already here after all. Can I let it go? It's already happened. Does it actually need addressing? Do I actually have to take action? And if so, what can I shift my attitude, bringing in a different perspective to this experience? It's okay. You are safe. You are safe. And when you are ready, allowing your eyes to open and knowing that you are safe and that you are okay. You are okay. And continue to take a few moments as we go to a break, because I will be right back to wrap it all up. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, on the Incredible Inspired Choices Network. See you back here in a moment.
At different times on our life journey, we can feel stuck and struggle with seeing our way through. What if the answer to the struggle is just to go deeper than the surface? By tuning in to Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols, you'll receive insight and guidance on exploring your feelings in order to heal yourself. Are you ready to create a more satisfying, peaceful, and successful life? Listen for the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com.
Healing through feeling is possible. What if you could start living life as you were meant to, before all the conditioning and trauma covered up your beautiful soul? What if your relationships could deepen through a more authentic connection to your feelings and others? A more satisfying, successful, and peaceful life is obtainable when you work with Sharyn Nichols, marriage and family therapist and life guide. Connect through her website, feeltoheal.com, or her email, SharynNichols@feeltoheal.com, to learn more about the Feel to Heal process. Isn't it time for you to start healing?
This is Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show, with licensed marriage and family therapist and life guide Sharyn Nichols. To participate in the program, join our live studio audience in our chat room at InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. You can also ask questions or comments by email by sending to SharynNichols@feeltoheal.com. Now, back to the program.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for listening to the Feel to Heal show with myself, Sharyn Nichols, and we've been talking about shame and how shame just takes over just about everything I have discovered, and that there are 5 things that you can actually do for yourself to alleviate shame. The first one is actually bring shame into light. It's okay to talk about shame. It's okay to say, I'm ashamed of what I have just done, because if you do, others may also discover that it's okay for them to feel the same because you feel that way. Does that make sense? Yeah, I think it does. It gives others permission to not let shame take them over. So untangle your feelings, meaning that if someone says you should be ashamed, is that actually really you or them? Who does it belong to? Does it belong to you or does it belong to them? Because how many times have we taken on something that actually doesn't even belong to us? I left a moment of silence for us to think about it, to go through that whole list in our heads. Because so much of our shame comes from us not living up to others' expectations, which really don't have a lot to do with us. It's their expectations. So another thing, number 3, is that we know we all want to be liked and we all want to do a good job, and just take responsibility for the job that you do. And if you make a mistake, don't call yourself bad names. It's okay. Take responsibility. Love yourself. I mean, I know that's really old and whatever. And still, it's okay. You're human. You put on your pants one leg at a time, just like everybody else. You can't not. We all have all the basic hardware. So also another thing is recognize your triggers, because one of shame's sneakiest tricks is to shame you when you are feeling most vulnerable. Wow. How scary is that? So know that it's okay. It's okay to make a mistake. It's okay to feel ashamed. It's okay to say something at the wrong time. Just own it. Just own it. So shame at its core is a fear of disconnection. So do what you can to connect. Connect with others, not trauma bonding. That's not connecting. That's continuing the cycle of being a victim. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Feel to Heal show. Be kind to yourself and reach out to me, reach out to a professional to unwind your shame, not your trauma, because that's all part of it. I have a feeling that a lot of your trauma came from shame. It's my guess. So let's unwind what's underneath all of the trauma, the shame that goes with it. Reach out. You can find me, Sharyn Nichols, at feeltoheal.com is my email, or my website, feeltoheal.com. I so look forward to seeing you all here back again next week when we're going to talk about age. Is age just a number? How old are you actually? I can't thank you enough for tuning in to the Feel to Heal show. See you back here next week, and you might as well be yourselves because everyone else is taken. And my heart to you.
Thank you for choosing to listen to the Feel to Heal with Sharyn Nichols show. Sharyn Nichols will return next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Mountain, and 3 p.m. Pacific on InspiredChoicesNetwork.com. We hope you'll join us. Until then, give up the struggle, feel all you need to feel, and make this week your best one yet.